Okay, so regardless, today we are going to oh, thank you for turning yours on, Saron. So today we are going to talk about that last question in our narrative comprehension. In your section B, right? The last question, you're always given like a table, and then you're giving helping words for the table. That question, yeah, we are going to talk about that question and how to answer that question a little bit better. So it's the toughest question in your narrative comprehension because you can't just have a basic understanding of the story. You actually need to be able to catch the main themes of each paragraph, like what are the main emotions of the characters, or how the author is writing and stuff like that. And that's where it gets really, really tricky, right? So today, hopefully, we'll get some practice in, and then I can share some insights about this particular question with you guys. So those questions are called flow in the narrative structure questions, right? It's a nickname I think we gave. So that's what we're covering today. So what is it testing you basically? Now it's put at the end because it's the toughest in your section B, and it's also put at the end because it's testing you on your overall understanding of what the main ideas are in your narrative comprehension. So they could be testing you on many things. It could be about the character's emotions. It could be about the writer's tonality. It could be about the excitement level of the plot, so on and so forth. It could be anything, right? But basically, there's always a sequence to it. So they will ask you paragraph 1, what's the main theme? Paragraph 2 to 3, what's the main theme? How about paragraph 4 to 5? What's the main theme over here? And to make it a little bit easier, they provide helping words in the box above, right? So that you have a pick, and you can do your best to differentiate them and see which one fits which paragraph the best. Yeah. So um, it tests your ability to put events in a certain order. When we say certain order, most of the time they will test you from paragraph 1 to the last paragraph. And you can track different things basically. You can track characters' change of personality. You can track key stages in the character's life. You can track the feelings of the characters, the behaviors of the characters, and stuff like that, or whatever. Okay, it could be anything, but it's testing you on whether you understand um, how the narrative comprehension is being written in the first place. Yeah. So it's kind of like summary. That's right, Nathan. You are absolutely right. It's kind of like summary. Um, and the thing is, for summary, it's tough because you need to change the words into your own ideas in order to score better marks, right? Um, but for this one, it's tough because you need to look at each paragraph and understand what the main meaning is behind each paragraph. So in a way, summary writing and this flow in the narrative structure question, right? They have similarities in the sense that you need to be able to summarize the main ideas, basically. This one, however, covers the whole passage, whereas the summary in section C covers a portion of the passage only, right? And then you pick up, you're very picky when it comes to summary writing, which points to put in, which points to not put in. This one, you're not very picky. Instead, you're trying to get a very bird's eye view of each paragraph. Okay? So, congratulations to um, those who have finished your weighted assessment. Nathan says he failed his weighted assessment. How did that happen? Summary, put your grades down. Okay. So, when next time you tackle summary, think about um, the strategies that I shared in the previous summary writing lesson. I think I had one of those with you guys, right? Yeah. We'll see what happens for your results. But you know what? For English, it's never a subject where you come for tuition and then, suddenly, magically, within 3 months, you're scoring, like very high score, that kind of thing. It's a work in progress normally, and then you slowly see yourself improving over time. So the next improvement you might see could actually be the end of the year, that kind of thing. It's not that quick. Okay? So to follow the important ideas in the passage, what you can do is you can make notes, right? For each paragraph that you read, you can make notes at the margins of each paragraph and highlight parts of the text that can help you to arrive at what the main ideas are for each paragraph. So that's a particular strategy that you could employ. So for example, this one over here, right? You can't really tell just by looking at the words itself what the main emotion is, but you can kind of like feel it. So for this one, what do you think the main emotion of this paragraph is, just by reading this? So it's quite tricky, right? Because shock and uncertainty can come hand in hand. They're very, very close together. But which one would you actually pick? What's the main emotion that Tim's feeling over here? So if you read this part carefully, you'll realize that the first few sentences don't really matter. Um, Maybe the only one that matters is that it was his first skydiving experience. And then after that, we see that the door opens in mid-flight. The only emotion that we are given here is that Tim was stunned. So stunned means shock, right? So you might be tempted to write shock over here. But let's continue looking at this. Having strapped him in earlier, the instructor told him to jump out of the plane on the count of three. His friends were waiting in line. Go, team, go! They chorused in unison. So over here, his friends were egging him on. The instructor told him to jump out on the count of three. He was stunned over here. So was it more of shock being the main emotion, or would it be more of? So it's definitely not relief. He's definitely not feeling thrilled. He's definitely not feeling gratitude. So you can do elimination, right? So it's either uncertainty, shock, or apprehension. So what's the difference between being apprehensive and being uncertain over here? You're like, hey, if you're apprehensive about something, you are uncertain about something, right? So you have your reservations because you're slightly worried about it. So since uncertainty and apprehension have very similar meanings to each other, you know what? It doesn't make sense to pick uncertainty or apprehension. So actually, the initial impression that we got over here, shock, was correct. Okay, he was feeling stunned, he was feeling shocked, and behind him, it wasn't helping that his friends were egging him on, saying, "Go, Tim, go!" And the instructor was giving him instructions to jump out at the count of three. So, shock is still the answer for this paragraph. Okay, so don't overthink it. Sometimes by eliminating, right, you can actually get the correct answer as well. As long as your vocabulary is a bit better, you'll be like, hey, uncertainty and apprehension, aren't they the same thing? You can't possibly have both as the answer here, right? You can only pick one word. So by virtue of elimination, right, these can't be the correct answers. Next. Once again, we are talking about Tim over here, but somehow the name has changed to Tom. I'm not sure whether his name is Tim or Tom. I'll just change it to Tom over here. So how about this paragraph here? What is his main emotion? So over here we have some clues. Tom's heart was thudding. All right. He was entertaining second thoughts about making the jump, which means he was having reservations, right? He did not dare to look down. He was feeling definitely a little bit nervous. All right. And then after that, he wondered why he had signed up for skydiving. Okay. He asked himself some questions. And before he knew it, he was pushed out of the plane, out of the door into the emptiness below. So, having reservations, wondered why he signed up for skydiving. It's definitely not gratitude, it's not thrill, it's not relief. Over here, he's not feeling shocked anymore because we've used shock for the previous paragraph, didn't we? And there's nothing over here that suggests he was shocked. It was more of like the last paragraph when he felt shocked. When the plane actually opened, the door opened out into thin air. Yeah? Now, in this case, we're left with uncertainty or apprehension. And it's up to us to make that differentiation between uncertainty and apprehension. So he had second thoughts. He was feeling apprehensive a little bit over here as well. This is very tough. But my gut feel tells me I should go with uncertainty. All right. Apprehension is a a very tiny bit more slight than uncertainty. If you, for example, are given a box and it has a black curtain over it and there's only a hole at the top, and then I say something like, Quinton, put your hand in and feel what's inside. If you can tell me, I'll give you $100. And then Quinton would be like, okay. He's like a bit apprehensive, like, I'm not really sure if I want to do this. Whereas uncertainty, right, is more of like you are already faced with the situation. You clearly know what's going on, and that you are uncertain at that moment whether to do it or not, right? So that's a small key difference, but that helps us to kind of differentiate for this paragraph over here. Uncertainty is actually a better word to use here because Tom obviously knew what he was getting into. Tom had actually signed up for skydiving, although he was feeling very nervous over here. His heart was thudding. He did not dare to look down. He was entertaining second thoughts. All right. I think uncertainty would be a stronger word to describe this paragraph. All right. There's no $100, Quinton. I'm just giving you an example to differentiate between uncertainty and apprehension. So I would pick uncertainty for this. And how about this one? Feeling unsure of himself, Tim arched his back and spread his arms like wings to gain control of his body as he fell. He recalled all the techniques he had practiced during lessons with his instructor on the ground. The plan was to free fall for 45 seconds before pulling the cord to open the parachute. This is definitely not relief, not gratitude, not thrill, not shock. It's either uncertainty or apprehension. Now over here at the beginning it says feeling unsure of himself. Now, this is a conundrum for me because in the previous paragraph I picked uncertainty, but I know for a fact that unsure and uncertainty are synonyms. They have the exact same meaning. So in this case, because of the very slight difference in the previous paragraph, all right, I will say, you know what? For this one, I'm very sure the answer is uncertainty. So I'll use that as my answer. I'll cancel apprehension over here. And for the previous one, we'll change it to apprehension instead. So when something better comes along later, you pick the one that fits more. And then you go back and then you change your answer accordingly. Okay? And how about fall over here? You know what? I'm just going to change the chat so that you can only speak with me. Because there seems to be a lot of chatter going on in the chat group. Okay, so for this paragraph over here, all right, how does Tim feel in this?